Chokam Soki Chokam La Jamsu Pardu Dami Kyasuchi Zaki Chunin Jipe Sonamki Drola Penchu Sangye Ruparshu.
We'll do the traces of the 21 towers on page 221 of the prayer book.
Page 221.
All my prostrate to the noble transcendent liberator. Homage Taurus Vitero, eyes like lightning instantaneous, from the open streams of the Buddha, Dewa, Lotus. Homage she whose face combines 100 autumn moons at fullest, blazing with light rays resplendent, past 1,000 star collection. Homage golden blue one lotus, water born and hand adorning, giving ever calm austerity, patience, meditation, her skill. Homage crown of Tathagatas, actions triumph without limit, relied on by conqueror's children, having reached every perfection. Homage filling with Utare, who moves thy direction and space, strengthening with her feet the 7 worlds, able to draw forth all beings. Homage worshipped by the all-Lord, Chakra Agni Brahma Naru, honored by the hosts of spirits, praisers, Gandharvas, Yakshas, trumpets with her chain and paid sounds, destroying thrones magic diagrams, retreat pressing left unrighted, blazing in the raging fireplace. Homage to a very dreadful destroyer of Mars champion, she with crowning lotus visit, through his slayer of all enemies. Homage at the heart her fingers, adorn her with faithful Buddha, like great masses all excited, all directions with adorn her. Homage she so joyous radiant, crowning knitting garlands of light, mirthful laughing with Kitare, subjugating Mara's Degas. Homage she able to summon all her guardians assembly, shaking, crowning with their own sign, saving from every misfortune. Homage crown adorned with crescent, luminal ornaments so shining, Amitabha in her hair knot, sending out the light eternal. Homage she with lethal blaze like neon ending fire abiding. Right stretched up and joy surrounds you, troops of enemies destroying. Homage she who strikes the ground with her palm and with her foot pieces, scouting with the letter Honda, 7 levels she does conquer. Homage happy worships peaceful, she will steal this peace nirvana. She endowed with home and soha, destroyer of the great evil. Homage she with joy surrounded, tearing foes' bodies asunder. Breathe with home and knowledge mantra, arrangement of nuts and letters. Homage to Ray with seed letter, of the shape of syllable. My foot stamping shakes the 3 worlds, Nehru, Manara, and Leah. Homage holding in her hand the dear heart moon of Deva, with twice spoken Tara and faith, Tohu is heaven's poison. Homage Shivam, gods and their kings, Jandra Tunara to honor, armored in all joyful splendor, she dispels magic and conscience. She whose 2 eyes bright with radiance of sun and full moon, with twice Tara and Tutare, she dispels severe contagion. Homage full of liberating, powered by the set of 3 nations, destroys hosts of spirits, Yakshas, and raise corpses supreme Ture. These phrases with the root mantras and prostrations thus are 21.
Page 245, this 245.
Whoever is endowed with devotion to the goddess and exercises the supreme faith, remembering it at dawn upon waking in the evenings, will be granted all fearlessness, will perfectly pacify all negativity, and will eliminate all unfortunate migrations. The multitude of conquerors will quickly grant initiation. Thus endowed with this greatness, one will eventually reach the state of the Buddha. If affected by the most terrible poison, whether ingested, drunk, or from a living being, just by remembering will one be thoroughly cleansed. If the prayer is recited 2, 3, or 7 times, it will pass by all the sufferings of torments caused by spirits, fevers, and poisons, and by other beings as well. If you wish for a child, you will get a child. If you wish for wealth, you will receive wealth. All your wishes will be fulfilled, and all obstacles pacified.
Okay, good job.
Put out all our negative karmas and the obstacles. We can clear the 1 week lot negative karmas, and we can purify next week. Anyway, good morning everybody. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Anyway, we have very great opportunity to practice about Buddhism, because it is a great opportunity, a great benefit. They talk about for our mind happiness. Usually we have happiness of the body and happiness of mental mind, right? Then I usually talk our physical happiness or outside things, material things they can cover. But our mental happiness is, we have to check our mind, control our mind. Therefore, Buddhism, they talk about when people who have difficult situation, how you deal that time. And most our life, sometimes up, sometimes down, not always same right. One day, oh, I'm very happy today. Nice. One day, oh, it's terrible for me. It's some sort of nature. But they all come from caused conditions, not just someone put all the happiness in you, or someone give all the suffering for us. They all come from caused conditions. And also, where the caused conditions come in, the more important, most of the cost. Cause is we create. No one create. The cause our create. Condition is different, They're really different ways. Anyway, therefore we need to, what cause bring the happiness, what cause bring the suffering. Then this is the explanation for Buddhism text. Therefore we can study, practice. And first we study, then we meditation, contemplate, then practice. But this is not easy. It's slowly. Then if you already used to, it's easy. If you're not used to, not easy. But slowly. Even all the Buddha's teachings, the benefit of main thing is how you create the happiness, how you abandon, subdue our sufferings, non-virtues, negative things. All Buddha's teachings, the main thing is that.
So the main advice of the Buddha, is how to cultivate virtuous actions and how to abandon the non-virtuous actions.
개와다 먹기와서 간지라서 나 샤와타를 쉬우니 저 대화진구나 들어가게 와서 샤와타를 쉬우니 들어가지고는 되는 먹게 와서.
So how do we define what is virtuous and what is non-virtuous action? So any kind of action by engaging in which, and if you experience the suffering as a result, then that is non-virtuous action. By engaging in any kind of action which results in happiness, then that's virtuous actions.
근데 배잖아 그랬다. 류대다 막 강시 너무 까부. 그래서 막 개회했더니 류대다 막 강시 너무 나쁘고 그랬나 봐. 막 개회했더니 너 배잖아 그랬어.
So in the scripture it is defined as something that is specified and which results in a bad or a negative fruit is the non-virtuous action, and something which is specified and which results in good fruit or a positive result is virtuous action.
류대다 세바이나 배나 갑데 개와레 올라가고 먹게와서 라고 말하was.
So when we say specified, then normally it doesn't say what is virtuous and what is not virtuous, right? So when it says specified, then it says specified as virtuous or specified as non-virtuous. So of course, not everything is specified as virtuous or non-virtuous. And so, for example, the anger is specified as non-virtuous. So anything that is or anything that falls under the category of anger or hatred is non-virtuous.
And
then on the other hand, also the compassion and love, affection and love are specified as virtues. So anything that falls under that category is specified as virtues as well. So also in general, if you abandon the 10 non-virtuous action, then that becomes a virtuous action. So if you make a promise or make a commitment to not create that non-virtuous action, then that itself becomes a virtuous action.
And the Sanji Jumden the Gomato and Halaya, the Jesuit, Sanji Jumden the Kalisho, that China Gomato and then Manzola getting a London to Kalin Hako race, and then Manzula Jagger, not Sulkis to race.
So when Buddha was just about to pass away, his disciples asked him, who should they go for advice, to advise them, what is virtuous and what is non-virtuous.
And 제가 내려오셔. 아니 왜 강성사가 소라티로나 다쳐레스. 대전 기셔서 지레스. 이네 아니 게 강라처가 너무 개발을 납샤요나. 근데 대단 통근이가 다스. 대단 통근이가 지나한테 제초를 개발해서. 예 얘는 먹기와 너무 납샤한테 대단 통근이가 대단 통나 아니 먹기와 잘도 돼 맞이해서 어떻게 좀 나올 수 있어요.
So then Buddha said, you can go for advice, to the scriptures, the scriptures that I have taught. So that's one thing, and the other thing is that whatever I have taught as positive, not everything. He didn't mention everything about what is positive or what is not positive, but those which he mentioned as positive, and if they accord with that, then it's a positive. If whatever he said is non-virtuous, and if it accords with that, or if it's similar to that, then that's a non-virtuous action. So you can just understand it that way. So the non-virtuous are the non-virtuous actions, like the 10 non-virtuous actions, anger, hatred, and so forth.
아니 개와서 대단 대단 무겨 접봉하다 아니 얘나도 냠내 나와서 봤다 누가 개와 자유를 했어.
So the virtuous actions would be all the positive actions of abandoning the 10 virtuous actions and also the practice of 7 limbs and so forth.
아니 대리 가도 내 루치는 지켜야 된다 그러나 개와 자유를 했어.
And also, the prayers and practices that we do together, by gathering together here, becomes virtuous actions as well.
아니 대처럼 게 단어 좋게 다 담아 가지고 끊어나가 그래서 끊어 지금 대화 친구 현재 탐정인데 뱀비 셔도 대리 상가지고 끊어나는데 배가 냠바이나는 다 대화 친구 주의다 저로 그래서.
And also it depends a lot on the motivation. So if you have thought this morning that I'm going to go to listen to the teaching in order to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, then that action of coming to listen to the teaching has become a Mahayana Dharma, Mahayana teaching, Mahayana practice.
아니 대마이마지 다지 소도 쭉 이제 집어넣은 대화가 삼아로 그게 나와 배워 있나? 아니 다들 더 중이 주어서 잘 그래서.
So then, but if you have thought just for yourself to become happy, to be free from suffering, then that becomes a practice of the low vehicle.
근데 다지 들레지 그놈 되니 강야 많이 가지고 다니는데 배워는 딱 그게 바자샤로 그러고.
So if you haven't had any of these kind of motivations but just came because you want to come, then of course you leave some good imprints.
다 들으려고 다시 전에 들으려고 이거를 와서 시담을 못 한다시나 이거 못 한다대.
So that's how it is in general, right?
그래서 다 가지고 개와당 개와 접수야 대파빵한테 가진 거 주고서나 개와 다 드리는 저거 그래서 대파는 드리는 빵은 거 주고 그래서 다 넘으려고 그래서.
So if we have to abandon non-virtues and cultivate virtues, then when should we start doing that? The answer is we should start from right now, today, from right now.
같이 되게 제고를 해서 난 선이 지난 데가 와서 나 리타이먼트 지난 데가 나가야지.
So why do we have to do it right now, today or right now? Or why can't we wait until later, until we are retired?
아니 제 교체세 아니 처음부터 와서 해야 됐다 그 가정하고 말했어.
So the reason why we have to do it right now is because we don't know when we're going to die.
데려가도 내 차나에 산이 로주마 데리가 있는마 데려야 내 댕에도 간가 아니 너무들 내 열에서 너도 다시 또 말was.
So right now, on this day, on this date, this year, we are all sitting here together, talking and listening. But by this time next year, on this same day next year, there's no guarantee that any of us or all of us will be still alive in this world.
Also the 2012 is coming soon. Really, 2012 December is coming soon. Therefore, we have to look careful. Do you watch the movie? Yeah. This end of 2012 December or what? December 21st. Yeah. December 21st. Therefore, we have to look careful. If you have something to plan, try to finish early.
Don't worry about it.
Don't think about next year's what we call plans. I'm joking. Okay. It's bad word. We hope nothing will happen. I don't know what they're not happening. Anyway, today 처음부터 개용하고 매와 인사는 다 누구처럼 그래서 제 다리 사마라야 개와 양조 내려고 지내다면에 나서 나오는 말에.
So because we don't know when we're going to die, therefore we should do it right now. And then after we die, there's also no certainty that we'll have this kind of rebirth again, where we'll be able to do these kind of practices.
그래서 이제 강가 루루치는 신앙이 가면 된전들이 지야 되시라 깔까고 말해서.
So it is extremely difficult to have all these favorable conditions together, the external as well as the internal favorable conditions together.
다 된지콜에 딱 되는 마치 단주 내가서 가지고 되고 나서는 거랬더니 정도도 미리 단단 가서 요 리더 또 짜친구 힘한테 배제하고 또 한거 왜 걸어서 그랬어.
And so the human rebirth that we have right now is very valuable and we should make a good use of it. So this is what is explained in this text now, talking about the rarity, of the Prophet in the river and so forth.
Do we think this is a very
Is it very significant, so very valuable? Do we see as that, our Prophet in our river?
Usually we don't pay attention, right? 근데 자와 침보 가진 자와 침보에서 자니 단단하고 매일이 뭐니 다 무슨 된지 제가 디시가 가면 맞을 때 얘가 두가 가만히 제대로 그래서.
So the reason why it has a great value is because through this Prophet in the river that we have now, we can do many things, many good things, and many bad things as well.
단단하고 라벨레 치다 뭐 강가지 하나다 테크놀로지 지에지 쇼로 지라야 돼. 강가 미소에 들어왔어.
So all these technologies, the wondrous technologies that we have in this world, is created by human beings, right?
뭐 매일 봐주면 아니 그것도 주장과 구발에 그거 가라시는 말 왔어.
So if those equipments or devices were not programmed by human beings, then they can't do anything from their side, right? They're all dumb and stupid.
For example, we have GPS. For human being, people start to all the programs, come to the channel,
so somebody has programmed it, right? So therefore now it's very easy for us, we can use it and it will take us to wherever we want to go. Yeah.
And before, when I was come from my area to Lhasa, around 1 month I have to walk. We don't know where's Lhasa. I'm East Tibetan, East of Festival.
East.
Then we talk about where's Lhasa means. Oh, that's no sure you place.
In the west where the sun sets.
We don't know where how can go there. Then we all the day ask people how you go to Lhasa. And most okay, just go this way and fine. Sometimes wrong way, Therefore we are not no computer, we are not, no one put the maps, even maybe they put that, we don't know how to use it. Therefore we have asked all the time, sometimes we don't know the exactly route, we come to around 2 days, walking out in the same place. And now very easy, it's okay, how many miles, how we have to go there, how many hours, how many minutes, but all these human beings, right? Therefore, today that I don't take no taris. That tell it haba. That was ten the deva. Deva judo man. Ten the deva. Sanji say. I mean Papa, Dutch must come out. Not the meet the doctor.
So this is something that can bring comfort in this life, convenience and comfort in this life. But far more than that, the state of liberation, or state of full enlightenment, and even that can be achieved through this Prophet in the river that we have right now. So it is not possible to achieve enlightenment on the state of being an animal, hasn't been in the past and will not be possible in the future as well. So we have to have all these many different favorable conditions together in order to do the practice, and in order to practice Dharma. And right now we have all those favorable conditions around. So there are these 18 attributes, the features that proves the favorable conditions for practicing Dharma. So in general, most of us who are here have all those favorable conditions. But personally, whether we have or not, it depends. So last time we talked about, we already talked about the 8 measures, right? And then we came to the 10 endowments, the this 10 endowments, there are 5 circumstantial and 5 personal endowments.
달바스는 다 주시면 콤바스. 주시는 대남 대나 주시면 콤거예요.
So the leisure means having the freedom, having the freedom to practice Dharma, right?
단 조바스는 아니 야치 또 양다 지주도 돼. 조바라 란조다 신주니 란조스나 주시발라 소소대나 댕거나 란조스. 아니 주시발라 옌징원이 등계된 zon거와다 아니 옌조스라 그래서.
So then there's the thing that 8 leisures and the 10 endowments. Right? The endowments, like I said, there are 5 personal and the 5 circumstantial or related to others. So the 5 that has to come from one side, the personal, and then 5 that has to come from the circumstances or from the outside, from others.
다 아니 담보 란조가 가도 다 몰라서 뭐니 위치 공부상 된다 내가 내가 그래서 뭐니 막 아니 예배에서 저 공부상 아니 재미있어 많이 봐 아니 내가 대화에 얘기해줘 봐.
So the first 5 personal endowments, and we have already talked about that quite a lot, like being born as a human in a centered land, having all one's faculties, and not perverted by the heinous crimes, and then having enduring faith and so forth. Right?
어디 다들 가도 답도 달라면 다들은 가도 신중한 것만 보면서
So we have already talked about that. Now today we're going to talk about the 5 endowments in relation to others. So that's in page 274, if you have the blue cover book. Anyway, it is the outline number 109. Outline number 109.
You got the yellow book? Yellow book wants to find the numbers?
311.
311. 311. 311. Okay, 다른 제조나 산지에서도 뒤시도 땜받는 뒤지 계시는 사람하고 대비해서.
So the 5 endowments in relation to others. The Buddha has come and taught the Dharma, the teachings remain and are followed. People have love in their hearts for others.
다 조사당하고 내 탈리를 했어.
So do you think we will have all these endowments?
다 산지 쇼바이가 산지 쇼베 가는 거래.
So it has to be at the time when Buddha has come.
아니 영어 맞아요. 되게 추송한 거래.
Not only Buddha has come, but has he or she should have taught Dharma.
추송. 아니 되게 추송에 땀받아 내 거래.
And then the teachings that Buddha has taught has to remain.
아니 대대마다 소소한테 주디다 주고 그래.
And not only that, but there should be people following that also.
아니 제시민의 써봐 보세. 아니 다 추생이라 다 지금 드제장이 다 기업진으로 다 드제장고 그래서.
And then people have heart for others. Especially it means like there should be people who support the Dharma practitioners. So if there are people practicing Dharma all the time, then there has to be like benefactors or sponsors who are supporting these practitioners. So if there are such people who support, then you have all these endowments.
산지 좀 된 데야 내 고난이 다 두께 문 제대. 산지 전남다 지기 다 가래. 다 칼라 말하니 칼라도 고사만 쉬 말해서 많이 말해.
So it could be through the power of Buddha's prayers, or just from the power of the practitioners. So those who honestly follow the practice of the Buddha, who honestly practice Buddha's teaching, will never die of starvation.
아니 다음도 대만에 같이 딱 나도 지금 민주 버스가 째네. 아니 남다체 마다가 째네. 아니 점점 땅가 메라레도 방고 채송. 다 남에가 막 방고 채송을 때 계속 용되게 그래서.
So sometimes people have that kind of a real honest practice, but just because they had some kind of excitement, at some moment of excitement, and then they just follow the teachings and give up everything and go into a solitude. And then when they can't follow because they haven't been earnestly practicing, and then they couldn't do practice up there, and they don't have anything down here because they have given up everything, right? And then they sometimes end up blaming the teaching for that. There's a story about a guy who said, Milarepa made him become a beggar.
그래서 근데 이제 시체는 가도 남배기 다 실로고 아니 가는 좋아라야 다 차바치 좀 하려고요. was
And so as a practitioner, we are not supposed to be attached to the external wealth.
이나 가도 대통령 삼아라 아니 이것도 다 저거에 맞라고 말했어.
Of course, we should not have attachment, but doesn't mean that we don't need any wealth at all.
근데 나도 직사하는 거 그래, 나도 얘는 거 그래, 야하는 거 그래. 많이 예사다, 파스 로사도 그런 거 보여요.
Because we do need to eat, we do need to wear clothes, and we do need to have a place to live, and so forth. So we do need all those things, right?
근데 나는 지금 샘땡네 지금 준남다 생기지 인바 옛날 아니 들리 말하기 강의 다 산지 쪽에 되고 이주 남다 인바이나 다요 말씀 내가 그랬어.
So if one is a pure practitioner, earnest and a pure practitioner, then there will never be difficulty for those things.
어떻게 근데 이제 다 누수원 자말 뭐니 단단데 송화데 산지 좀데 샤주고 내가 송화를 뭐를 해야 돼 잠깐 봐 송화를 했어. 네 담보 시대들. 담보 시대. 산지 정말 대치 송화를 때마다 대치지와 담보 시대 담보 뭐니 잠깐 말했어.
So these first four, we don't really have them.
아니 내 나도 봐서는 뭐를 해야 잠깐 말했어 송화를 했어.
So it is said in the text that let alone us, even Nagarjuna didn't have all those four. So this is said when Buddha was still alive. But because we have the teachers who represent Buddhas and teach us all these dharmas, therefore it is equivalent to having a Buddha. Because he teaches Dharma, therefore it's also same as having a Buddha taught the Dharma.
아니 다 때만에 해야 된다. 선지 시켜주고 내가 그래나 간제 다 되게 때마다 단다 나도 돼. 야매 제제 왔다. 아니 대원 고쳐 그래서.
So the teachings remain as like Buddha's teachings are still available, therefore that also is there.
어떻게 아니 다 디진 주세요. 다 나서 간제 그냥 산지 좀 내가 시 송셔 디 지주 대자수 지게지 제셔 되게 다 야매
So and then also we have followers, right, following the teachings of the Buddha one after another, and therefore we have that endowment as well.
산진 직된데 맞으나 담이 주면 좀라 현재 주모는 공도 지웠다고 산지 중에 대마라고 근데 이게서 마찬 없을 때 이나서 상마 담보는 있었단 말이에요. 이나 산지의 찬섭라마 유지 최대는 되니 상황에서.
So it says, if no Buddha has come to a particular world, there will be no holy Dharma there. If a Buddha does come out, for example, as before teaching the Dharma, his coming will have been to no avail. And these first two endowments, strictly speaking, are not fulfilled. But our gurus are still alive and substitute for the Buddha and teach the Dharma. So these two endowments are virtually fulfilled.
다 산지에 때만에 세야 되라야 아니 로그 때문에 또 배우면 이해를.
And then it says Buddha's teachings, the teachings of the Buddha remains. That has the two different kind of teachings, the scriptural teachings and the transmitted teachings and the realized teachings.
근데 야, 저도야 산지에야 또 배우면 그래서 대신하고 자식이요.
So do you know what is the realized teachings of the Buddha? Can you give an example? So what about the transmitted teachings or scriptural teachings? Is there any example that you can provide?
네, 글쎄. 원래 인연이 안 좋다더라. 아니, 땜비 탐식 남니다. 르다 답게다. 땜비 탐식 남니다. 르다 또게 다니. 대대서 마셔 들어가서 거나고. 다 산지에 땜발라 간이 르고 땜발라 들었다니 이해를 했어.
And so just like Vasubandhu said in his Abhidhamma Kosha, that the teachings of the Buddha are two, the scriptural and the realized teachings. Do you understand that?
So like the Four Noble Truths are a scriptural transmitted teaching, right?
The Bashi, Lungi Tebares. So you don't say Four Noble Truths, the teachings, that teaches Four Noble Truths. That's the transmitted teaching.
Is it sutras?
Yes, sutras, yeah.
No.
Otherwise, Dembashi is not Dunga Dembata, Sanjilu Temple, Sanjik Temple, Yamacha.
So like for example, then when you say talk about the true suffering, so if you say true suffering is Buddha's teaching, then that's not to be practiced, right? But Buddha's teachings, we should practice, right? But in other words, the true suffering is to be abandoned, right? So Buddha's teaching, you keep in your mind or in your heart and then practice them. So realized teachings are the realizations of those teachings within the continuum of the Arya beings or any kind of beings, as long as it is the realization of the teachings. So the realized teachings within our continuum will be like ordinary people like ourselves, will be the practice of abandoning 10 and virtuous actions, so the practice of the 3 trainings and so forth. So we do have this practice, right? The practice of abandoning the 10 and virtuous actions, so practice of the 3 trainings, right? And so there are these teachings which explains these teachings unmistakably. Therefore, there is this transmitted or scriptural teachings. So by studying or practicing the transmitted teachings, then you generate the realized teachings in your mind, right? So first you study in the school, then through that study, then you do the work. It's exactly the same as that. So it says that, as this in the teaching here, right? The teachings are supposed to remain in undegenerate state and will be put into practice so that through them people will actually acquire the path of the Aryas. And at present, the 5,000 years of transmission of the Buddha's teaching have not run their course. All the same, although the teachings are still being transmitted, the fruits of the teachings will only flourish in your mind stream if you develop realization into the teachings. And it says that, so, well, it's actually like it says here 5,000 years, the teachings of the Buddha will remain for 5,000 years. Literally, it says like, 10, 500, which means 5,000 years, right? So, in general, Buddha's teachings have flourished in this world, right?
다 수수 나라 수수께는 냠내 돼야 타면 아니 수수께는 때마 기능 세차를 해서 손도 시단 이제 담아다 다가를 때 담에서 가는 공부도 실지 담아 어쩌고 되는 메대 대다 때마 기능다 시단 딱 같이 나와서 얘기하는 시전에 여가는 다 수수께라지 수수께는 보면 아니 수수께라 때마 기능 자성으로 시단 때마 다가를 수수께라 담에
So even though the teachings of the Buddha has flourished in general, but personally, if you haven't had any realization in your mind, then the teaching has not flourished in your mind. And of course, in general, it is flourished, but it's not flourished in your mind. It's degenerate in your mind.
What do you think? You guys think? For us, degenerate.
So so we can see whether we have those, whether we practice or not, right? Whether we have those realizations or not in our mind, whether we have the knowledge of those teachings or not, right? If you have that, then the teachings have flourished in our mind. But if we don't have that, then teachings have degenerated in our mind, right? So which is yours? So of course, in general, also the Buddha's teaching has degenerated. It's still there, but still it has degenerated more than before, right? So it says that when the 8,000 verses of the Professional Wisdom Sutra of the Buddha can be fit into a pocket, and that time the teachings of the Buddha will degenerate. Right now, you can take whole the translated teachings of the Buddha and translated teachings of the translated commentaries in the Buddha's teaching, or you can carry it in your pocket, right?
Your pocket? On the GPS? Then we put iPod in your pocket. Then we put this pocket here, then we stay above there. Right? Do you guys do this? I don't know, maybe not. Usually people put, something, there, or the virtual stick of iPod, maybe this big was not problem. Small one's iPhone, then we say something about that. That is not to change in the country. Can you tell you just on the power of
So all the teachings in the Buddha can fit into our pocket now, right? Because of the enhancement of the technology. And so that shows that degeneration of the Buddha's teaching.
Oh, this is the Tempas Tempara Shuba. That the Nepal Kanda, Sanji Chusoma de Sanji Shumba de Antano, getting you on that shoe. He Chusoma, the Chusoma, Tempara is what I'm not talking about. She is. Maro Sanji Temba, never said the mother, Temba Shubaya, Poverty, Tunda, Kanye, Jedu, Tossing in Domo, there's a tomato of Sanji, Tatin, Momojan, Jitan, Momoshudo, touching changes.
So it says that as Kadamba all tell us, this has not happened. We don't have the external teachings in our mind stream. So we must not let our own share of teachings die out. That is, even if the Buddha's teaching flourish externally, but the teachings die out in in your one mind stream, your share of teachings has died out. And so that's, we should not have to let that happen. And not only that, also we have this Buddha's teaching. Not only the Buddha's teaching remain, but also it also has the followers of the teachings.
And then Papa in the top of the page, Tuntama, Mombo, Tachi Mombo, Che, and Dodan, Nark, Temba. And the Apple Swindon to Vashi, and Jitan Jambea down, Jitu Shango Mombo, Jitan Jambea and Tate, the Apple and none of the Tate or myself.
Says of all the tenets of the Indian and early and later Tibetan sects, the most precious tenets are those that combines the pure view and the practice of both Sutra and Tantra. For example, the teachings of Geshe Rinpoche, the reformer, and the embodiment of Menjushi, the protector, teachings that are the purest, polished, refined gold.
아니 something that the bar select number select and kanji ta ngune sanji maso baji rese mai baji ta number tele mai ba ta ta te leper na ta ta ka ta che mo bo che ne ani to mani ta man de ta ma de ta de rese.
So there could be the teachings that are kind of stained or like not completely pure teachings of the Buddha, but mixed with other things. Unlike that, the teachings of the Buddha, both Sutra and Tantra combined, pure view, the practice of both Sutra and Tantra by Lama Tsongkhapa. So that still remains, that's still available for us.
아니 글쎄 양 그 단단하고 막 때마다 가디나 산지 가서 뭐 보시나 막 때마다 다고 말했어.
Especially the teachings of the Tantra will not flourish every time, like the teachings of the Tantra will not be taught by all the Buddhas who come into this world. And this time, when Buddha Shakyamuni taught these Tantras, we've been born at that time and had the fortune to meet with those teachings. And again, when these different teachings of the Buddha, the sutras and tantras, if they were not taught or explained clearly, then many people may misunderstand them. And some teachings, in some teaching, it says that if you meditate in the morning, you'll be enlightened in the morning. If you meditate in the evening, you'll be enlightened in the evening. So, then sometime without even meditating, you can be enlightened in a day like that. So there's some kind of explanation like that in the teachings. So then again, we should not misunderstand those teachings, when it says that, because that's referring to the people who are very ready to be mature, who are very ready to be mature, and then for them, if they practice, of course they have done all the preparation, everything ahead of the time, and then at that time, when they practice that one time, then that will, lead them to the state of full enlightenment right away. So it doesn't mean that anybody, who practices in the morning will get enlightened in the morning.
아니 로만 생이 참아지다 로마니 존지체니 냐는 제바였나 아니 다 산지고 공부 나빠나서 말지 발레라고 쉬운다 그렇게 소망했어.
Then again, also it says that if there is a qualified teacher, a fully qualified teacher, and a very enthusiastic student, when they two meet together, then again achievement of enlightenment is very easy. But most of us, we don't have that, right? We are not able to achieve any realizations. So I don't know if it's teacher's fault or student's fault.
I think it's student's fault. I'm not sure what you guys, we're all student's fault, right? What did it? That the Matamoto kanji, Tatana Sochi, Temban, Tegi, Selemepa, Yapon Jeva, the Tamako Kawasamushira, yes, what?
So anyway, so we're very fortunate to be able to meet with these pure, unstained teachings. And also there's this story about Dazang, the translator, for example, came to see the special features of Geshe Rinpoche's teaching late in his life and said he was won over, that they hit the mark and so forth.
간제나도 가디나 가디는 자고래 산지에 땜받은 자와 산지에 땜받 내와 산지에 땜받은 야는 자가 무는 점바에나 아니 대기 바자모 샤네 너무 약간 그래서
And so we should always pray, to be able to meet with the teachings of the Buddha, to be able to practice the Buddha's teachings and so forth. We should pray that again and again all the time. And so every time we pray, we leave imprint in our mind, and then that imprint, when it ripens, then we will actually meet with the teachings of the Buddha.
근데 좀 떨어지는 것 같아. 마치도 대대비 땜받은 자와 같은 건 맞은 같이 예매 봐 대라도 침에 봐라도 쉬게. 근데 예주시 다 지주 상황을 가지고 나 봉건 보시고 손다는 거 자와전자에 봐서 침에 봐라도 쉬어서 공부하고 그랬어.
And says here, Pabongka Rinpoche was teaching mainly to the monks, and that's why he says, you have met with such teachings, and not only that, the fourth of these endowment is also fulfilled. The teachings are being followed, because there being no other hindering circumstances, it is easy for you to give up your secular life and become ordained.
다가도 라주케마다 간제 라주마나 간제 다 남에게 때마다 대화용이 그 지주제는 너도 같이 이제 매발했다 야보용데 그래서
So even though we are not all of us here are ordained monk or nun, but because we have met with this teaching, we have faith in these teachings, and therefore we also have all have these endowments with us.
다 너는 레버쇼 가서 더 많이 산다는 지주 하나 지주를 봐야지. 다 레버시나 아니 다 주면 레버 쇼모 지주를 레버 스타지 레버시다.
So actually the teachings are followed means that you can manifestly see that people obtain one of the four results. So if you see people with one of these four results, then that means the teachings have been followed by the practitioners. And so he says here that as a stream enterer, once returner, never returner, or arhat. So those four results.
그래도 예산에 있어서리 전주신도 경험 제가 따오라 참여 몸을 좀 하세요. 또 참여 말이에요.
So he says the fourth endowment relating to others as actually discussed in the Sarabhaka's levels only apply to people like the monk Udayi and not to the protector Nagarjuna, for example.
what 다 나가지다 상대다 먼저 타다 상요 말was.
So if Nagarjuna don't have that, then of course we will not have it, right?
대 타면서 사지 샤슈비 내가 마시마도 상대했어.
And so that's because that's the reason why it is the way that that endowment is not fulfilled with us, because we're not at the time, we're not born at the time when Buddha was still around.
어떤데 다 때문에 옛날 영어서 또비 땜비 저거서 토바라 카무야 다시다. 다급전 뛰어버다면 다시 카무야 다시다 옆에 바다 된다 상황을 됐다. 이거 딱 된다 상황에서.
So it says that the people who obtained the four results set the examples. Even now, these saints set us an example. So this fact serves as a substitute for fulfilling the fourth endowment.
근데 다 전정가만 주셔봐라 전도선 대전 좀에 다 비즈니스 자원의 상황에서.
And then the fifth endowment, relating to others, that people have love for others in their hearts, means benefactors, etc., provide favorable conditions for Dharma practitioners. So this endowment is also fulfilled.
랑자 이때도 대전부 쩌쩌쩌지였나 니는 가시 담에 탐실 제가 신도 건나 다 데려다가 생남에 다 단디 접시를 가르쳐 보시라 그래서 근데 생각만 되겠다 뭐는 야고 자는 만들어 아니 다 왔죠 도바시도 많이 잡아 아니 내려는 먹어봐 아니 다 치지 못 쩌지 아니 다 와지 이제 왔죠 우리 도바시고 뭐는 잡아야 되는 거는 도바래서
except for a few, all 18 of these most beneficial things are extremely rare to achieve, yet we have them. Moreover, we achieved them because we made all the right prayers in our past human lives. So we prayed to receive 10 things and not to receive the other 8. Thus, we now have the 8 freedoms and 10 endowments.
어떻게 해서 다 너도 산재 좀 된대기 아니 취셔발한 텐션 상고서 다 좁제 뭐 가가 시셔 상고를 했어.
So these are all 10 and the 18 favorable conditions we need in order to practice the Buddha's teachings, and in general we have all those 18 favorable conditions.
이나 다 너도 달라왔다 같이 취셔가 공부 되는 거가 공부도.
But we don't have really that much of the freedom to practice Dharma, right? We don't have that leisure to practice Dharma, the time.
We have time running. That's too short. Therefore, that 시전에 상하다 너도 그냥 시전나 maybe we can one, maybe we can do 90 time. 뒤쪽에 상하다 시단 내셔가 뒤쪽에 상하다 너도 뒤쪽에 겁나 내 주셔봐라. 가요. 뒤쪽에 좀 공부할 거 없이 하는 거 쪼개처럼 놓았어. 쪼개처럼 놓았어.
So we have all those 18 favorable conditions. What we're missing is the 19th one. And that's the time. Right? We have the time to practice Dharma. We have all other things, but no time.
Then we all not. 되는 말은 너도 간간하다. 주적에서는 뭐 다른 상처하고 놓아.
So if we add that one on top of the 18, then we are missing the 19th one.
Then we can complain. It's I'm one missing. It's not valuable for me, right? Otherwise, we have Buddha told 18. We have 18 complained, but still we have no time, and we have no choice. Another cautious of here was choosing about covering and the Juma subject. But to the Jashana, I think not much comes to
So we have all these 18 favorable conditions, and yet we don't practice Dharma. So we don't have anywhere to blame. So now we add ourselves, and we add that one more condition, and it's the time. So I don't have time, therefore I can blame to that.
Wait, can we add? Then maybe big argument coming. 시간에 그냥 가서 개노라 충이장을 짰습니다. 그래서 며칠 도시도요. 내가 충치 싸우치자. 며칠 충치야. 그도야 내 말아봤어.
So actually you can add, in that way, right? If it works, you can add it that way. So like the fully ordained monks have 253 vows, and the 253 vows were not set from the beginning. These are the 253 vows. They were increased as time went by. Somebody did this, and then it says, oh, this is harmful, so we should not do that. Now that becomes the vow, not to do it, and then that's how it increased into that many numbers.
Right. 근데 내가 그 처음에 내려왔지. 지사는 좀 싸워서 대학이나 주셔가지고 왔어.
So same with the law of the country, right? And so it says, oh, this should be law. People do this, so we should not allow them to do that. And now, so this becomes law. No, you're not allowed to do that.
오케이, 다들 어떻게 다 같이 딘두콜라 다 싸움을 한 거. 근데 나도 다 다와진 저같이 찾은 나도 상계를 해서 시전에 상계가 있는데.
So if we think about it, generally we have all these 18, qualities, the 8 pleasures and 10 endowments.
다들이 다는 대리 대전이는 다 대그래도 다 대충 것 좀 지어요. 그래서 다 티오다 되는 거 사진이가 대처해서 맞아.
And then so if you have all these favorable conditions, then what can you do? You can achieve a great benefit from that. And then the next topic is about thinking about the great benefits of optimum and rebirth.
와서 모두 사죠. 단주 무슨 와서 단주에다 가 와서 내가 가게 된 무슨 와서. 근데 대단한 좀 삼바 다시 말다 대단한 좀 그래서.
And so the first it is identifying the optimum and rebirth, right? And then the second is talking about the great benefit of the optimum and rebirth.
예, 그와이 말은 대단한 좀 들으면나 아니 그딱 변도 다 마셔 말어 와서.
So even if it's so difficult to achieve, but if it doesn't bring that much of benefit, then then there's not much of use, right?
근데 다 다와진 저어째서 밀리는데 톱까지 가버려. 대 톱소나 다 되게 되는 친구들 줘버려.
So it is extremely difficult to achieve the perfect in the rebirth, or optimum in the rebirth, with which has all the 18 qualities. But if you achieve it, then you can achieve great benefit from that.
다 된다 치고 가지고 다 된다 치고 말로 숨줘야지.
So what are the great benefits? There are three great benefits.
아니 대라다 내가라 되는 된죠. 다둘라 되는 죠. 내가라 되는 친구 주셔야 돼. 다둘라요. 다 되는 거. 이마다 너네 끼치기를 되는 친구 줘야 돼.
So it can be very beneficial in the short term, beneficial in the long term, and not only that, but it can be beneficial for every moment, every seconds.
다 대신 다 동거 다 내가라 되는 거 같은데 심한 연소도 맞죠. 된돌 하다미 공부하자지 너죠. 리듬 좀 해야 돼.
And then the short-term benefit, is that through this proper rebirth, of course, if we use it in a proper way, then we can save ourselves from falling into the lower realms. We don't have to be born in the lower realm and so forth. So that's the short-term benefits.
가르에서나 인도 라다미 대로 깨와라 제저거든. 제저 가르 트름 송고 트름데 미때면 샤마 송도 말해서.
And so that's in order to be born in the upper realm as a human or God, and not to be born in the lower realms, we have to practice morality, and the moralities can be practiced only as human beings.
너 바데 나와트 이게 되게 트름 레지 트름 가르 레지메 치다 송 가르 트름이다. 쪽지가 말해서 봐.
And so the Chandrakirti said, the cause for upper rebirth is the practice of morality.
당연도 배나 미 공부를 째네 롱식이 이제 또 다시 제가 수수 깔리 잡고다 또 지금 이전바 동아래 이전바 너도 밑에는 뭐도 다 스트레스 땅고 말아봤어.
And not only born in the upper realm as human or God, but if you want to be rich, then you have to also in addition to that, then you have to practice the generosity. You practice generosity by giving to those who are in need.
And we can ask some animals to give some food or something, but they don't know, right? Because to lose water,
so again, also to do the practice of giving, you have to be a human being, right? And the animals can't do that practice. If you ask for animal for something, will they be able to give you?
And then 콜 퍼서 속에 이제 다 zoba인데 다 zoba데 미다는 거 물어봤어.
And also the cause for attracting people, being yourself and attractive, is the practice of patience, and that can be only practiced as human being.
근데 네 콜 퍼서 다 뭐보여서 와, 다 나도 단다치. 남은 제고 제거나 아니 저거 뭐래 와. 아니 지금 콜다 소소 가리나치 분수 소바 용하시 거나 해도 저거 뭐 단소 저거 저변데 그래. 뒤지는 다 견들이 왔어.
So in order for you to attract people, or for yourself to be attractive, you have to practice patience. And in order to have people, come to like you, to be around you, and so forth, you have to be patient as well.
네, 대야 된다보다 됐다 봤어. 아니 공부나 인도 삶이 되나 단순히 딱 안에 되나 단순히 찔러지 좀 년이야. 맞죠? 맞도 전에도 대좀 좀 그랬어.
So if we, of course, if we don't do it, then we can't do it, right? But if we do it, there's no doubt that we'll be able to do it.
심마 안에 참바다 자신 콜로지에 되고 내가 늦어 도래. 너무 예된 도는 늦어 도래. 둘이 예된 도는 늦어 도래. 대중 콜로지대로 늦어 도래.
So it says here, right, if you wish to achieve your next rebirth as Brahma, Indra, or universal monarch, you can. If you want a rebirth that has the 8 good qualities from calming, ravening effects, or a high rebirth, with the 7 good qualities, or the right physical rebirth, for the 4 wheels, of these supreme vehicles, and so forth, you can achieve them.
Who want that comes? So 참바다 자식이 좋아하는 일.
So who wants to be born as the Brahma, Indra, or universal monarch?
I want.
Yeah?
You guys want?
No.
I really don't want. Why? 다 들으면 왔어. 대화전에 샴바라. 아니 집이 샴바레 때는 단디도 도래.
And so in this rebirth, you can also achieve, of course, to be born in the Pure Lands, like Sukhavati, Shambhala, and so forth.
단디 want 브롬신 거. 아니 네. 어다 간지 제대로 간지 깔리 잡네. 아니 저를 쉬는 데 제가 그래서 근데 정말 샤바를 저기 대저기 소원이 같이 벤치 바디시라 모델이네. 이게 되는 또 살아요. 딱 가게 전에 한 번 사원들 와서 있는 된도 살아서 많이 그랬죠. 샤바를 잡으려서 아바 사원들 와서 된도 살아서 많이 그랬어요.
And so like here it says, right, the story of this Longdo Lama, says, made his ultimate rebirth meaningful by practicing in hermitage. He showed little interest in even a single ball of barley flour. He practiced in order to collect the cause to be reborn as the king of Shambhala. After he had made these prayers, he thought he should now make an offering to the Panchen Lama, Baltaishi. And he asked Panchen Lama, will I achieve my aim? The Panchen Lama knew what he meant and said, the old man is being really greedy. You will achieve your aim. So if you work hard, you will never achieve anything you want.
Okay.
So I think we'll stop here for today, and we have a few question answers. Questions. Contemplate on these points. I think contemplate on the point, whether we have achieved this kind of optimum result or not, and will we be able to achieve all these great benefits that is explained here.
아니 배잖아 소마를 산지에 소마를 답사 친구를 임벌에 삼아 주고 그 말을 수수대 다시 제거를 해.
So you should not just think that it must be it must be true because it is said in the scriptures. It's said by Buddha. You should also check it yourself.
Okay. Any questions? No question?
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
So back to the transmitted teachings versus the realized teachings. Can you? I said so. I gave I thought might be an example of a transmitted teaching, but was it too specific? You were looking just for sutra. Like, was that the answer that you were looking for? I just wanted to clarify because I was a little confused as to what you were looking for with that question.
산지 때문에 산지 때마다 가는 때마다 미국 때마다 또 그래서 뭐 봤어.
So the teachings of the Buddha, right? There are two teachings of the Buddha: the transmitted teachings and realized teachings.
아니 또배 때마다 세야 돼. 타와도 틈이 잡아 공부 토약이 딱 냠네. 생기 제주 아니 들으려고 그랬어.
So the realized teachings are the practice to achieve liberation, enlightenment, and those qualities.
배차샤가 있나? 아니 다 동반에 그래서 또 밥이지 상처거든요. 인지 친구도 다 도와드렸어.
For example, like the bodhicitta and the great compassion within the continuum of Arya beings who have realized emptiness directly. So by practicing that, we can achieve a state of Buddhahood, and that's the real the Dharma jewel, right?
아니 딱 상제도 상처도 못하지 라오스 냠내라 그랬어.
And then the practice of the three trainings within the continuum of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
그래서 딱 말아서 지지 짱주 선비 라오스 냠내다 저
And then also we can say that the practice of the three trainings conjoined with the refuge in our continuum, we can say that is the Buddha's realized teachings. So generally the practice of the three training is a common practice in both Buddhist and non-Buddhist schools. But if that practice is conjoined with refuge, then it becomes an uncommon practice in our Buddhist. So the practice of abandoning the attendant virtuous actions, or practice of the three trainings in our continuum, we can say that's similar, realized teachings. And so the scripture that explains about this teaching is the transmitted teaching.
근데 다나 지랑기라 때는 덴바실라나 덴바실라 아니 두마 덴바나 고데니 데니라는 따다 도베 빼나 다 람데다 고데니 다 람데데 도베 때문에 고데야 다 도베 때문에 로 말해서 와.
So the Four Noble Truths, so if you say the true path and the true cessation, true path, yes, you can say is the realized teachings, but true cessation is not really realized teaching. And therefore, if you say Four Noble Truths, then that's not right, because the true suffering and true origin are to be abandoned, right?
And Tembala tobi tembala long tobi tembala and lajan
so for the realized teaching, it has to be something to be practiced.
and tam gewa chete lajan mare paja was mamma kya chana dude duma gote kunji paja lajan mare paja was
But whereas the true suffering and the true origin are not to be practiced, are to be abandoned, right?
But wouldn't would the Four Noble Truths be a transmitted teaching, because they're a teaching that was transmitted by, like, a teaching of the Buddha that was transmitted to his students?
But the Dhammasikhi Sungchudi, 가서 무기 대발을 누렸어.
demba shet tembe demba shi nobja tembe sanji ge sungchu de ta lu de bares
Yeah, you can say the teachings, and the teachings about the Four Noble Truths, and teachings about the true suffering or truth. That teaching is a transmitted teaching.
Okay, that's what I had given as an example of, was transmitted teaching, not as the other ones.
Pena, there is a
That's when I was confused.
게티가 나도 시초 말아가 tembe sanji ge suratela ani lu de bares lu
So any teachings of the Buddha that explains about what is to be abandoned and what is to be cultivated, can be a transmitted teaching.
근데 그것도 세워 차서 왔어.
So is that clear now?
Yes, thank you, Geshe.
Then any just go there. Do you guys understand?
No.
She the adding someone. Maybe her husband. No, they just talking. Yeah, that 주도 처음에 나 좋았다.
If you don't have a question, I have a question.
다 나도 다시 다 주도 마치게 다 로조 체니 다 다시 로 마보레스. 다시 다 싸워레스요. 같이 나가잖아. 같이 맞춰. 도치 요스. 도치가 나도 제너로 그랬어.
So many of you have studied for a long time, and some of you have just studied. But anyway, I have a general question for you, for all of you.
당도 가디나야 상식성 공부를 해 공부를 하다 그랬어. 상식성 공부를 했어. 일단 대 상식성 공부에 간례 상담을 주로 상식성 공부를 그랬어.
So we're always taught or advised to meditate on bodhicitta, right? So how do we meditate on bodhicitta? Meditating or practicing, in what way will it become a practice of bodhicitta?
Which actual practices?
Yeah, so meditating or practicing in what way will it become a practice of bodhicitta? So what kind of mind is a bodhicitta?
Well, there's that loving kindness meditation that is taught to say, first to pray for someone that you love, and then pray for yourself, and pray for a neutral person, and then pray for an enemy. Is that a bodhicitta practice? Like I have one that I do, it's so first I would pray for my daughter, may Fiona be well, may Fiona be happy, may Fiona be safe, may Fiona live with ease. And then I would do the same prayer for myself, and then I would do that for somebody I feel neutral about, and then I would do the same prayer for somebody with whom I might feel angry or have had some kind of negative interaction. Is that something to bring about bodhicitta?
물론 샘씨를 이제
So Devin just put some. I'm sorry. Devin just put something in my ear that might further explain it in a Tibetan cultural way. Equalizing self with others. So.
이게 뭐랑 그 탄유입니다. 뭐랑 인연이 쳐라든 상도 나와서 뭐랑 그 인연 상도 나와서 대제라든 뭐랑 게 지난 다니엘 바마드서 저 다니엘 바마 인연이 바마드라 이제 상도 나와서 근데 대제한테 다다서 상도 다다서 걸 상도 배나던 담보 뭐랑 게 다니엘 보모 표현아 근데 기부에 와서 표현아 되는 도구 많이 와서 나 상도 나와서 제가는 뭐라 하는 기본 하셨어. 뭐라 도구 하셨어. 대제라는 뭐라다 뭐 마시는 데서라든 아마도라든 대제 여러시 상담하지. 대제라는 뭐라다 컨도사다 아직 독자 조사도 그러든 상대의 상담하지 잠시 선착을 해.
다들 그 현실적인 내로로 듣고 먹으러 왔어. 근데 샤바 대신 먹으러 와서 현실적인 게 말했어. 내로 나도 담으로 따님 따뜻한 상태 다 다래. 좀 따님도 현실한 거로 양반들 좀 들으세요.
So yeah, so that will be a preparatory practice, for generating bodhicitta. And so that's how you equalize, yourself with others, by thinking about yourself, by thinking about the loved ones, and then the strangers, and then the people that you feel angry with, and so forth. Yeah, so that is a good preparatory practice. Then, but that's not the actual bodhicitta practice, right? So what will be the actual bodhicitta practice?
Can you like that? I think. Oh, sorry. Thank you. The actual practice, like the practice of 7 causes and 1 effect. Like the official practices, from what I understand, there's 2 types: exchanging oneself with others, or you could practice the 7 causes and 1 effect. Is it 7 or 6? 7.
7. You didn't know that then that's the cause for generating bodhicitta, right?
Right.
That's the method or cause for generating bodhicitta.
So
So first, just like Eileen said, you have to equalize yourself with others first, and then after that, and then you do the 7-fold cause and effect instruction practice. So those are all methods for generating bodhicitta, right? So and also in order to generate the bodhicitta through the practice of equalizing and exchanging yourself with others, you have to also do that practice of equanimity.
So looking at the
so the preparatory practice is what she said. What she said is the right about the preparatory practice. Then you equalize yourself with others by thinking that we're all same in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. And then after that, then comes about all this recognizing all individuals as one's mother, remembering their kindness, repaying their kindness, and so forth. And then all these different practices, right? The 7-point practices, until you achieve actual bodhicitta.
You done?
Can you repeat the question, Geshe? The original question?
What is the actual bodhicitta? So of course there are many different types of bodhicitta, right? But what is the actual, the general bodhicitta?
So somebody like me can only do the causes to get bodhicitta, but to practice bodhicitta can only be done by bodhisattva. And so to actually have bodhicitta, having that wish to achieve enlightenment throughout day and night, whatever one does based on that motivation, if it's firmly in their mind, becomes the practice of bodhicitta.
선제 탐지들은 상이고 더워지는 인생을 내상으로 내 땅에는 내가 가르쳐버려 되는 전승이라고 잘 봤어요.
It's close.
You have to have achieved and realizations of emptiness, right? You have to practice bodhicitta, trueness.
돈이 또 올라왔어.
또 말.
No need.
No.
So we're thinking too deep about this right now.
다 가서 단다 물라야 다 그냥 되게 전에 거기서 와. 담보 삼나다 담보 가서 자당 뭐 마시도 소리다 대화도 되는 거 삼도 말았어. 담보 소속이 니 도시 삼는 뭐 삼도 빼야 그러셨어. 뒤가다 거기라 돼. 반에. 뒤가다 그 삼서대. 다 되어지 주말로 많이 마시다. 삼도 땅고 삼배 샘 띵려야. 다 샘제듯이 대화 되면 먼저 봐. 진소 임바 연자 다 건조 채다 근데 다 거기 고마서 맡으면 지금 못해서 딱 은혜 좋아 휴침을 깨다나 다想去 이렇게 삼수 휴침을 수술 깨다나 근데 다想去사는 다 지도 바로 여기로 왔어 은혜 想去 좀 되게 더 깨워다 먼저 랑 쉬고 다 되게 깨다나 想去 지도 바로.
So in order to, of course, generate bodhicitta, first you have to go through those preparatory practice, and what she said is right about equalizing self with others and equalizing all sentient beings. Like, so first you think about yourself, and you can't think about others right away, especially those who have treated you in a negative way. So first you think about the people who you love, and then you think about the strangers, and then those who have causes you harm or interrupted you in a negative way. So, and then with that, then comes that practice of the sevenfold, cause and effect extraction, or equalizing and exchanging self with others. And then with that, then it comes the thought, Ian said about having that wish, because all sentient beings are same in wanting to have happiness and not wanting any suffering, and therefore I must lead all sentient beings to the state of full enlightenment, so everlasting happiness of enlightenment, and therefore I must achieve enlightenment myself in order to benefit others. And so when you have that thought, then that becomes bodhicitta.
아니, 글쎄. I want to add something about that. 아니, 나도 상처 생각이 편해. 근데 소마이나 라바이나 편히 쉐브 배자는 건 근데 직사를 미세 좋아요 보이나? 상처 생각 꼭 대화를 해보는 것도 알았어.
So when you have a special a feeling, a good feeling, whenever you read about bodhicitta or hear about bodhicitta and so forth, and that shows that you have very strong faith in bodhicitta.
아니 semchega dunga 동화도 리와 된적으로 시작했나? 아니 아직 이제 좋아하는 거나 아니 샴바다 이제 생각을 놓고 보이고 있어.
So whenever you hear or see the suffering of the other beings, and you feel that you have this special feeling, whenever you hear that, then that also shows that you have good understanding about loving kindness and compassion.
담보다 다 알리다 보니 소소 예사될 수 없는 근데 바래들 담보가서 소소 예사들한테 지 누가셔나 그때 간지 타고서 무슨 스타는 인생 좋은 것도 왔어.
And so just like Arin said, you have to first think about that towards the people who you feel very close with. And whenever people who you feel close with have some kind of suffering, then you always have this strong feeling when thinking how to free them from those sufferings, right?
想修生这个大的的想修生这个过来推吧当这个上头呢努力经常出来也把不上去呢大家不是有意思
So like it says that the sign of having generated bodhicitta is like whenever you hear about bodhicitta, you automatically the tears come out of your eye, or you have goosebumps in your body and so forth. So that kind of feeling, that's the sign of having bodhicitta.
근데 정그런 것이 좀 망하지 따와야 돼도 자세라는 소리만 소리만 가라야 땅을 미치고 아니 딱 그러고 현재 뭐 무시를 해서
And so maybe, I don't know if you have noticed, but like whenever His Holiness Dalai Lama teaches about the 37 practices of the Bodhisattvas, he always cries teaching about bodhicittas.
나도라 산지에 그 장소에서 배해잖아 지바 생식에 등하는데 지바 지바는 더.
For us, we don't have any feelings when we talk about bodhicitta. We don't have any feelings when we talk about the softness of the sentient beings.
You got the feeling? We have to go, right? It's good, yeah. It's, because, I don't know, who doesn't say anything, maybe they can't, this person may be good or not, I don't know that, but who talk, this is good, good basic, basic something you use.
So those who didn't answer, of course, but even those who didn't give answer, I know you understand about it. So in general, it's very good that you all have this good understanding.
근데 단다 나도 라떼야 지 들라라 맨날 지 동지 땅나도 지 나도 지 남의 친구들 들도 내가 말은 춘 열심히 해 말했어.
So this practice of the four immeasurables, the bodhicitta, and so forth, if you don't have that, you can't do all this high practice of tantra and so forth.
Okay, it's good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
It looks very good. I believe everybody good practice, good practitioner, good study, hard working. We have not much time. We have to go walk. We have no choice. We have to go, We say, oh, I'm the practice. I cannot go walk. This maybe tomorrow maybe you lost your house. It's dangerous. Everybody have to go walk. You can spend time a little bit to practice. Good opportunity, good influence our mind, and hopefully one day Buddhism come dupes our temple. Okay, let's finish. Thank you.
Page 39 of the Kurukulla.